Hey, what's up, everybody? Jon Foss, CW Twin Cities, and I'm talking with Niles. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Yeah. So tell everybody at home what you do.
I am an entrepreneur. I'm a hip hop artist, and I'm an educator, a producer. Basically, Renaissance. It's a lot of different things within the arts I do. But the main thing is hip hop artist.
Yeah, and a lot of your music and what you do, it kind of talks about the Twin Cities, and you're obviously a huge fan of the Twin Cities.
Yeah.
Are you from here? Tell us about like your childhood, where you're from.
So I'm from Lansing, Michigan.
Okay.
And I lived here my last year of high school. I stayed in Brooklyn Park, graduated from Park Center, and I've always had family here growing up, you know? Everybody moved to Minneapolis like after they graduated college, so I was the one who wanted to go to the East Coast. And then after graduating college, going to New York City, I moved back here to Minneapolis. So
having family here, were you like visiting the Twin Cities?
Definitely.
You were familiar with it?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yep. Always growing up, Minneapolis was like where everybody was at. So I come here during the summertime, during my childhood, teenage years. Then my senior year of high school, I made a lot of great friends who I'm still friends with to this day.
What was your childhood like?
Childhood was it was some challenging times, you know. Went through homelessness, growing up on welfare, and just different things that are the results of just an accumulation of problems creates that type of environment, you know. But I'm glad I got that testimony because I always kept my grades up. I stayed out of trouble, and I learned early about just having self-knowledge, and that kept me away from all the different booby traps, and I ended up going to Michigan State University, graduating with a bachelor's in communications, and I'm an entrepreneur now, and I teach the youth to stay out of trouble. I kind of give them the story in order to help guide them. So on the flip side, making it out turned it into like a golden testimony that I can tell anybody going through things. So
where did hip hop come in?
Hip hop came in when I was young. I'd say 10 years old. My older brother, Segrin, who actually shot the video for my lead single that we'll be talking about later. He's the one who introduced me to hip hop culture. And even when I was too young to understand the words, just the vibe and the energy and the upbeat awareness of it just stuck with me. And then when I got older to understand exactly what the culture really was about, is something that I really respected. And the people who existed before hip hop, I studied as well, because it comes from, it's like a lineage of black arts on a high level. So yeah, and I feel that if you're gonna be an artist within any type of genre or category, it's good to know the history, not just of that, but what happened before it to birth it.
So your brother's now a filmmaker?
Yeah, he's a filmmaker.
Is he in Miami?
In Miami, yeah.
Okay.
He has a company called Soul Gorilla Films, and he's shot for Revolt TV. He's done stuff with Hip Hop Weekly Magazine, BET, and a lot of different companies. So
awesome.
Yeah.
So when you're growing up and when you're getting into hip hop and everything, who inspired you to kind of shape what you do now?
Well, I'd say my older brother. See, I started as a visual artist. So two of my older brothers, my brother Sebastian, he was an oil painter, acrylic painter. Then my brother Segrin was a hip hop artist at like 13. So both of them kind of shaped up my early childhood inspirations. But artist-wise, I'd say Nas, Common, Mos Def, Andre 3000, Wu-Tang, Jay Dilla, Queen Latifah, Lauryn Hill, Miles Davis, John Lennon, Phyllis Wheatley, Sade. It's so many different artists, so many different genres, man.
So was your brother listening to kind of the same people?
Yeah. My brother, he was listening to everybody, you know? He would play records in the room, and I'd come in and listen to what he was playing. He'd scratch. And back then, they used to dub tapes. There was this radio station called 96.5 back in Lansing. They played all the hits, and 88.9. So just soaking all that in really inspired me. I started off with sports, but I always used to memorize music very quick, even before I started rapping. So it made it easy to start writing and becoming an artist. So.
What happened to Lauryn Hill? She had like that huge solo album.
I know, man.
It was kind
of
that, and then
I know. It's just one thing that I've seen as I get older, you know, like different artists, they go through different phases that they're comfortable in. So with her, you know, she met one of the Marleys, had a family, and then kind of toured and just had different shows that she'd have and then release stuff independently. I'm noticing like a couple of artists do that, kind of pop-up situations after they blew up, like Andre 3000. You don't really see him anywhere. Then out of nowhere, he'll like be on somebody's song. Or almost like been there, done that.
Yeah.
I
And
do
I
what
guess
I
at
want
that
now.
point,
Right.
I mean, you don't have to do it.
Right,
So
exactly.
There's a lot of other fun things to do too.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? So you go to New York and you win Who's Next, the Hot 97 Talent Search
Yeah.
in 2006.
Yep.
How did that happen?
Oh my goodness, man. I went to the talent search. It was at least 300 other artists.
Wow.
And it was 3 rounds. So I made it to the final round. It was at this place called Comics in Manhattan. And I ended up winning. The next day I got interviewed by Miss Jones on Hot 97 and DJ Envy. DJ Envy is the top radio personality for the Breakfast Club. But yeah, I got interviewed by them on Hot 97, ended up releasing a single called This Time that was produced by a producer that was on Rockefeller Records at the time named Bula. And yeah, it was a good run in New York City. And it taught me everything that I know now, what I'm using. So
What brought you back to the Twin Cities?
I will be honest, price of living. I mean,
Yeah, it's
New York's,
crazy, huh?
oh my gosh. And along with that, I learned that for me to really do this, I'm gonna have to do more than just rap. I'm gonna have to like pull out all the cards as far as my talents and then use hip hop as one of the tools amongst everything else. Because if you're just the artist, I mean, it's okay, but you get such a small percentage. So that's what I've learned. So when I moved here, I was like, the economy's good, the job situation's good. It's like a land of opportunity here.
When did you come back?
I came back in 2010. So started here and just built everything up to where we're at now.
And you hosted Poets Groove?
Yeah.
What's that?
Poets Groove was the longest running urban open mic in the Twin Cities. It was hosted by Desdemona, who is a well-known MC and poet within the Twin Cities for I think 13 years before I started hosting it, but it was incredible. And that's where I met so many super incredible, amazing artists here in the Twin Cities. And that's where my idea for creating the avant-garde started.
And just last year, you were named Growler's 25 Trailblazers of 2017.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, Growlers is a very prestigious company and magazine. So if they choose you as one of the top influencers within the arts, it's a big, big honor. So anytime you're noticed for anything that you do that has to do with your passion is great, but to be honored that way is incredible. So shout outs to Growlers, I'm very humbled by it.
And one thing that a lot of people might not know is that you were doing hip hop and then you stopped.
Yeah.
And now you're doing it again. What happened there to make that happen?
Like I said, man, I was on the cusp of blowing up, quote unquote, in New York, but it was some things that I had to get together and balance out as far as just a man, being independent, having a job, like in New York, it was like all these different things going on at once. When I moved here, I was like, okay, I need to go from A, B, C, D, E. And so the way everything turned out made me be like, you know what, maybe music is a thing of the past as an artist. And then when I started teaching, that was therapeutic because I was back in my essence of education. And I was like, you know what, maybe I'm just gonna do this. And then when I started the avant-garde, I was gonna do more of artist representation as a CEO and all that stuff. So I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done with it. But my grandmother and my mother passed away within a 7-month span.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. And that opened up my eyes on what this life thing is really about, what sacrifice is really about, what carry on tradition is really about. And they both told me before they passed to get back to it and follow your passion fully. So after that, it just lit a fire in me,
So since then, it sounds like you've been opening for some pretty big names.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Slick Rick, Rakim, Raekwon, Mos Def, Pete Rock, the Dilla Day Show with My Dukes, Maureen Yancey, Slum Village, Jay Electronica. These are all people who I've looked up to coming up. So to open up for these people and to build relationships with them.
Do you meet them when you open up for them? And
totally.
What's that like?
The thing that's great about meeting them is I'll always rap their lyrics to them. They never hear nobody rap to them. Because people
really?
always bring up the radio songs, but
So
I
you
bring
go
up
for
the
the obscure
B-side
stuff.
songs, and they're like, what? Okay,
Yeah.
this dude is like really a fan. Because I'm an artist, but I'm a fan first before like all this artist stuff. So meeting them and showing them that type of respect, it's priceless. It's priceless.
And it's probably a lot better to have these conversations as a fellow artist as opposed to just a fan. Because at some point they might be kind of like,
right, okay, bro, like,
now
right,
you're
right.
kind of a stalker, you know, but you're there doing your thing.
When you're opening up for them and, you know, they see what you're doing with the
Yeah.
company, then it's totally different than just, yeah, you're right, man. And it's funny because it's a fine line between being on the stage and just being the person, like, in the crowd, you
Yeah.
know? So yeah.
And you probably get some seats and experiences that you couldn't purchase.
Oh,
You know,
totally,
like your
yeah.
front row, you're behind the
Backstage, talk to
having
them
conversations.
afterwards, all that stuff. Yeah,
that's
so,
great.
yeah.
So you have a new album, To Remain.
To Remain.
This is
yeah.
your debut album,
This
right?
is my debut album.
So
yeah.
basically, after everything happened with your mom and your grandma,
Mm-hmm.
and they give you the advice that you need to get back into this, you start going full steam ahead, and then this is what you created. Is that
Totally,
right?
yeah. And I won a couple grants too. I won the Verve grant, 2016. I was a McKnight Fellowship finalist, and I won a grant from MRAC. So those 3 grants all were towards creating the album. So all these different things, opening up for these legends, winning these grants, it all contributed to creating this album. That's how I knew that it was time to do it. And then when I was younger, I always said, when I create an album, it's going to be called To Remain. And the word remain is so powerful because it has to do with enduring, everlasting, forever, you know. And people like Martin Luther King, people like Mother Teresa, they're going to be taught about. They've been taught about before we were born because of how powerful they were when they were here. So that's what To Remain is about. Us creating history now for 500 years from now, us still being educated about because of the light that we brought to the earth. So.
And I love the video. The videos for the song "The Time Is Now."
Yes.
And your brother,
Yeah.
you mentioned earlier, he actually shot that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
how did that all come about?
Well, it's featuring Caroline Naomi.
Is she local?
Yeah, she's local
Okay.
too. Yep, she's by way of Nigeria. But I produced the Martin Luther King Day tribute concert for the University of Minnesota at Tubman Concert Hall. Caroline Naomi was one of the singers that was in it. So I was working on my single around that same time. I brought her along, and Grammy Award winning pianist Sam Barsh introduced me to the producer, whose name is Jordan Brooks. He's out in, he was actually just featured on Jimmy Fallon, which is great. But he produced the song, and we went down to Miami, shot the video, and then artists from the local Miami scene were featured in the video. So that created a connection between me and Miami. So I'm featured on Nostalgic Minds' new album coming out, which features Alayo, who was one of the actresses in the video. We released it, and we're getting some really good responses to The Time Is Now. So
Yeah, looks great. And
Thank you.
Obviously sounds great too.
Thank you.
And I love your Minnesota song.
Thank you. Oh
Tell
my
me about
gosh.
that.
Man, bro, like the Twin Cities is where it's at. Seriously, man. Like this is an incredible city. It's so diverse. It's so much opportunity here, you know. And I'm all about, even though I'm not from here, it's home, you know. And wherever you're at, I feel like you should pump into the community there, you know. So just from the landmarks to the people to the opportunity to the history, everything about the city is, I think, incredible and forward moving. So I had to make the song Coolin' in the Soda about the Twin Cities.
Are you gonna make a video for that?
Everybody's saying that I should, and I think I am. And you know what's funny? People from out of state, because I performed it and it's been online, the performances, people from New York and like Atlanta, it's like, yo, that Twin Cities. That's how you know you have something special, when it's people from out of state saying that Twin Cities song is great. So yeah, we may do a video to that.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
I think it could be like an anthem, you know, for people
Totally, it will be the anthem.
around here that.
Yes. You hear it here. You hear it here first.
Yeah.
It'll be the Minnesota anthem. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Speaking of your album, you have a release party coming up.
Yes, release party is on Friday, September 21st at the Ice House on 2528 Nicollet Avenue on East Street. Opening up for me will be Calvin II, who is the guitarist who acted in the beginning of Childish Gambino, Donald Glover's smash hit video, This Is America. I went to college with him, so
Okay.
I have him for a good price,
Yeah.
price. So, and David T.C. Ellis, the founder of the High School for Recording Arts, will be doing a keynote speech. It'll be hosted by Vibo M, and DJ Hall Watt out of St. Paul will be on the ones and twos. And
Can anybody go?
well, it's 21 plus.
Okay.
So I try to make it 18 plus so my
Yeah.
students could be able to come, but
But it's anybody can buy ticket. Anybody
totally.
21 plus can get
yep.
tickets.
Yep. $10 in advance, $15 at the door, and $18 in advance with the CD.
Okay. Wow. So we talked about your background a little bit.
Yeah.
How did your background affect this album and your music?
Oh man, well, to remain means to survive. You know, regardless of what comes your way, you're gonna stay strong. You're gonna rise. amongst the ashes, and when the smoke clears, you're standing strong. And so when I look at my life story, and not just looking at where I'm at as far as an entrepreneur, but just me still remaining myself, you know, in these situations where you get heralded or you get glorified, you can lose yourself, you know, but I'm staying connected to my foundation. And Common has a line where he says, no matter how high I rise, I kiss the floor, you know, and that's what it's about, you know, staying grounded with who you are, where you're from, but then again, knowing who you are and elevating to your best possibilities. So
Last time you were in here with Ashley DeBose.
I was with Ashley DeBose, yep.
From The Voice.
At the other building, at Como.
Yeah, that's right. Will you guys be working together at all in the future?
Yeah, actually Twin Cities Rise is doing an event in October that me and her will be performing together in. So yeah.
You guys have any songs together?
We don't have any songs together yet, but you just started. Hey Ashley.
Let's do it.
We got to do it. We got to do it.
Let's make it happen.
That just birthed it right
nice. There. All right. I better get some, at least a credit.
Totally, man.
Right.
We need you to speak in the beginning of it.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So Avant-Garde,
yes.
Tell us a little bit about where that's at right now.
The Avant-Garde is at the level where it will become a record label imprint. My album will be the first project released under the Avant-Garde, and it will be the vehicle to open up doors to represent more incredible Twin Cities artists, because we really want to be a strong centerpiece of the new frontier of the Twin Cities music and art scene. So it's a super exciting time, and I'm just you know, elated and amazed right now at all the possibilities for where the Avant-Garde could go.
We used to have Jimmy Jam, and you know, making a lot of great music around here.
Yeah.
And Prince obviously recently passed away, which we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Rhyme Sayers is here
Definitely.
now.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in the future? Do you feel like you're trying to fill the shoes that were left by some of the music that's gone away?
Totally, man. It's just the history here, and the people who are making a lot of great power moves here even now, I think that they both interlock, you know? Because a lot of people like the Rhyme Sayers, they still keep alive that tradition of real hip hop, you know, regardless of how global they are. So they set a great example of how it should be done, you know? And so with the Avant-Garde, I definitely want to, you know, stake a claim as well with a lot of different areas, from event production to music production to just being a part of what the next frontier of the Twin Cities music scene is.
What's your overall goal as an artist?
My overall goal as an artist is to influence as many people as possible to be better human beings. You know, one thing about Niles and what I do is I always want to be a reminder that everything is going to be okay. Because you never know what people are going through behind closed doors. And, you know, I'm glad that I'm able to have a positive perspective on life, to see exactly what life is truly supposed to be and what it's supposed to mean. So that's what I want to filter out through not just my music, but everything that I do. Mm-hmm. So that's my main goal with the music, is to touch as many people as possible. Accolades and money, that comes with it when you're working hard. So I'm not even worried about that. Yeah. It's more about remaining. So.
Cool. So where can people find out more about you, and where can they get the album?
Okay, so my album will be sold on all music digital platforms: Spotify, Tidal, iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, everywhere. Plus it'll be on my website, www.theavantgardeis.com.
All right, and otherwise just get your tickets for the release party, right?
I'm telling you, this release party is gonna be, we need to make it a holiday. September 21st every year.
Niles Day.
Yeah, exactly, Niles Day, there you go.
Yeah. Cool, well Niles, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, John, appreciate it, indeed.
Awesome.
For sure.